Okay. Try number 2 at this. My microphone was not on for my recording program that I'm using currently. So this video that I'm currently doing is for 2 things. One is this is the kind of setup I would use for like streaming purposes, where it's me in the corner with my webcam box and then everything else on screen. And this is going to be kind of the first video I'm going to do like this. Hopefully the quality is good. It's actually in OBS with the recording function. So I'm hoping it's nice for you guys to watch post. But I'm going to be watching Tennolive 2015. Last year was the big announcement for Archwing, which turned out okay. I did another video that I think is coming out today. It should be. I think it's also going to be coming out today, that this is out. That kind of goes over my thoughts on Archwing so far and where it is now. That's such things. It's weird to be talking about it now that it's not up yet. Kind of odd. But anyway, yeah, I have the timer for Tennolive on screen. I have 9 minutes until that stuff starts. And then I'm going to assume that, like, if you're watching this, you've seen Tennolive. I'll put a link, I guess, if you guys want to go see that. And then come back here to maybe like bring your thoughts and then cross wire with my thoughts on stuff and things, because I'm expecting some big announcements. I'm expecting to see the new Warframe, which is going to be a huge talking point on the forums for everybody involved, because it's probably going to be a little more exciting than what we're used to. Maybe. I really like a lot of the more recent Warframes, so hopefully this is going to be a big up. But yeah, I'm excited for what they're going to announce, because it was really good last year. And I'll have like, since obviously I'm going to have like nothing down in, wonder what over here. This is the area. Okay, so to my bottom right, this place down in here that I'm pointing to now, that I've figured out my orientation via the webcam. I'll have like notes that I took during the Tennolive conference or live stream. It's weird. I'm not really sure what to call it at PAX, and then kind of go over everything that I think that we saw and what we did see. And I hope we get to see more of the raid. Like I guess I'm just gonna go over what I hope to see, which is 4 things. The new Warframe, possibly like a new area announcement, the new boss, and the raid. I want to see those 4 things. Absolutely. Mostly the raid, I think, because what we saw of the raid last time was interesting, but not exactly telling me a whole lot about the actual difficulty of the raid. Because as it kind of seemed like a simple puzzle with 8 people, which, I mean, you can't ask for a whole lot because they're just now getting to the 8 people threshold whenever we're doing raids. But I think that that's all I wanted to say in the beginning of this, and then I'll be back after Tennolive is over, and hopefully after you guys have also watched that. But if you have not watched Tennolive, and you're going to watch this video instead, that's awesome, because I guess it'll kind of be a breakdown of what was important. Tennolive should be an hour. I'm going to guess that this video will be 25 minutes, maybe? I don't know. That's my guess right now, depending on how much there is to talk about. But, yeah, so I think I'm going to stop rambling and shut my face, and I'll be back after Tennolive. Okay, alright. So, I have kind of set this shit up in a specific way. Over here, on my left, I have all of my Tennolive notes. These are going to go in order of the way when I will be talking about them. And then part 2 is over here underneath me. My mouse should be recording. And then I have images to go along with all this stuff, and I'm going to try and sum all this stuff up, because there is a lot, as fast as I can. And the first thing that we have to look at is the Mios, which is a new melee weapon that is a scissor blade sword on the end of a chain thing. It looks cool. They showed a few other images that are kind of teasery. No animations were shown. Evidently, those are not even done yet. So we'll probably be seeing this weapon later than Update 16. But that is okay. It looks cool. I'm looking forward to that weapon, if for nothing but looks, even if the stats are bad. And then, speaking of even if the stats are bad, let's look at the next weapon, which is the Dex Dakras. If you guys log in this week in March, you will get these Dex Dakra, which are they're nice looking. I think they're pretty sure they are dual blades, based on what they were saying. I have not logged in to get mine yet. Excited to have another Dex weapon, besides the Dex Furus, and it's free affinity and such for people that want it, and I'm sure the stats supplement it being good. And then the other melee weapon that was announced does actually not have a name yet. It is the Puncture Glaive. It's going to look like this. If you've been using the glaive and want a glaive that is puncture, it's going to be that. Okay, so those are the three more mild things that were discussed. Also, a catalyst is going to go on alert for 3 days. So if you're watching this within the first 3 days of the live stream actually having happened, I suggest you go grab that. And then one of the most important things is supposedly Volt Prime. What I'm showing is the text that was shown, not the like tiny teaser Prime part bits. And it says, "A brilliant tactician shines," which it seems like misdirection towards it being maybe Vauban Prime, but they said Volt Prime multiple times. So I'm willing to believe them and say that it's Volt Prime, which I'm excited about. I like Volt. He's a cool frame, and I'm sure his Prime variant will look very, very nice. Other things that were talked about, Conclave. Oh, wait, no. I almost missed a very important step. Void parts moving to the star chart. Evidently, we're going to have a lot of Void stuff be moved to the star chart, and then things in the Void, like rewards, will actually be increased when you properly go to the Void. But on the star chart, you'll be able to bring keys to unlock specific Prime parts all over the star chart, so that will hopefully kind of fill in players that need certain parts and are trying to go for them on the star chart proper, which will help newer players get through the general mission running that you have to do, like what I've been doing solo for 99% of the time, because there are not a lot of players in the star chart. So it should hopefully help mesh out and spread all of the players across the star chart, as opposed to everyone sitting in the Void waiting for other new players to get through all the content they're already done with. So hopefully that should fix that up. I don't know when that will be happening. Hopefully soon, because it sounds like a good change if they do it correctly. And then for those of you concerned with PvP, I myself, I sort of like PvP. If it was balanced, I'd kind of be into it. So for what we know about New Conclave, is it's 3 maps. One game mode we know about is Cephalon Capture the flag, except for it's going to be Cephalons. New Syndicate, one of the 2 new syndicates, is the PvP Syndicate, with a character named Teshin, who is just a bunch of lore, who is against the values of the Lotus and has been around since the Orokin disappeared. Okay, so that's all that stuff for Conclave and that, which is mostly things I don't really care that much about. And then onto something I do care about a lot, which is the raid. Okay, so we learned some things, some unfortunate things, some very, very, very fortunate things. The raid is going to be split up into 3 parts that you will do subsequently, like one right after the other. And we only basically we know the lore thing, which is this is in response to Vahek destroying some of the relays during one of the prior events. So that's the story thread for this. And then as for rewards for the raid, we have the arcane enhancements, which were mentioned on the last live stream, but we have a tiny bit more clarity now. For now, they are only going to be able to be put on helms and sindanas, and the values of the arcanes that are going to be put on these helms and sindanas are procs only, not trade-offs based on what they said. So it's not going to be the old arcanes, like the Vanguard Rhino helmet that was arcane originally, but they got transferred into an arcane with those stat values. Based on what we know, it's not going to be those stat values. It's going to be like get 10 headshots, get health regen, that kind of stuff, which kind of sucks because it still sucks for those players that want those bonuses like the Vanguard helmet but can't get them now. Hopefully they will add those things into the pool of gainable attributes, I should say. 8 players, we found out you can go up to 8 players. 8 players will not be required. I don't know how that's going to work. They said that the difficulty will work out for between 4 to 8 players, but you could potentially solo it. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel like in the first week we'll probably have a solo build that can run the raid by itself. If that doesn't happen, they've succeeded. But 8 players not being required is good because finding 8 people to play and raid in Warframe with sounds incredibly difficult. So we have that stuff. Okay, and then moving on, we have Sanctuary, which is going to be a new rotating constant event, I should say. It's where, as you can see in the middle right here, my mouse is behind that. Okay, in the middle of the image I have on screen right now, that's a target that you will be set to capture with these special items, and it will cycle every week, and every time the community as a whole completes the goal for capturing, we will get a lore dump based on that enemy, which is sort of cool. It'll give a lot of the veteran players something to do, and it's a syndicate. But I hope what doesn't happen is that either A, we run out of enemies to go and capture, which shouldn't happen, we have a pretty good variety of enemies in the game, or the alternative to that, everybody stops being interested in the syndicate once they get all the rewards based on how easy it is to gain the points to get the rewards from this syndicate. Which is what I don't want to happen, obviously, because that would be bad for the game as a whole. But that's Sanctuary. It's going to be another Cephalon. Oh, I should have mentioned. I forgot. Both Sanctuary for capturing enemies and the PvP Syndicate are both neutral and separate. They're not affected by any other Syndicate interactions. So they don't have any enemies or anything like that. It's completely separate and bonus. Okay, so now on to something that I really want to talk about because it's kind of disappointing to me personally. That is Chroma. This is the dragon frame that we heard so much about. Okay, so we only know a few things, but as you can see in my final note down here, visually, I'm not super excited about this Warframe. He looks okay at best. He's kind of not what I expected, to be honest. When I think dragon frame, I don't really think this, particularly in the head region. The rest of him looks fine, so hopefully he gets a cool helmet to switch off to, which is what I would prefer. And then, oh, his energy color determines his element, and it has some interaction with his skills and like changes what they do specifically. One of the animations that we saw is just of him just breathing fire, which is unexciting and is probably a bad ability, if that's even one of his abilities and not just a canned animation. And then we, based on what Scott said, we have some stuff. It is supposedly increases luck because some dragons in some lore do that, and then he's a team buffer type of thing, which kind of sucks. Unless those team buffs are significant, like very significant, he's not going to be even as good as Rhino, and he's going to need some kind of defensive skill to back up being a team buffer, and he's going to need some damage too. I didn't see anything that looked particularly exciting about him. Hopefully my expectations are just incredibly low now and are exceeded greatly, because I was not as thrilled as I wanted to be about anything about Chroma, which is pretty sad. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that image so people can see that. And then the big reveal, Easter event, bunny ears. Yeah, there's going to be that stuff. None of that is particularly important. And then some questions that were asked at the end that we got a little bit of side stuff from. We got, this is my questions reference over here. We got Archwing gameplay mode melding, which is going from on foot in a ship and then jumping out of the ship and then hooking to your Archwing and then transferring to the Archwing gameplay that way, which is much more interesting than just them being completely separate. We heard that that is incredibly difficult to implement, so I'm not expecting that for Update 16 anymore. And the new boss will implement that, so I'm not expecting that for Update 16 anymore. And then for Parkour 2.0, it seemed really dodgy, and like they didn't really want to answer a lot of the questions. So I don't have my hopes too high for that. And they talked about coptering and slide jumping, which are the main forms of transit in Warframe, originally being bugs and not features, which is kind of terrible because it means that the two most efficient modes of transit in this game are bugs, not features. So while I would like that to not be a thing, that is a thing, and they should maybe look at the bugs and try and make things that seem like bugs to them, because those are two of the most popular things in the game. And while I don't like coptering, slide like boosting is a feature that I think is good for the game as a whole. Okay, so, and then we have the last reveal, which is the Tombs of the Sentient, and it is a new faction. I actually have the video for that I'm going to play at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Overall, I think that we got more than we usually do for this stuff, but a lot of the announcements I'm either moot about or a little bit on. I got my hopes crushed a little bit on the Dragon Frame. I was hoping to like him a lot more than I do, which is unfortunate. The Chainsword, that looks awesome. Mios looks awesome. Dex Dakra is happy about that. Puncture Glaive, I could do without it, but having a new glaive is fine, and I like it. Oh, I missed something. Charge attacks are coming back for melee weapons. We don't know when this will be, but they will be returning at some point. So everyone that liked the Galatine, or still likes the Galatine, will have their insanely powerful charge attacks back. So that's going to be there. And then we got the new Conclave stuff. Hopefully the Conclave stuff comes out well. I would like to play PvP in the game with balance. And the raid seems like it could be good. Probably not going to blow anyone's like hair back, but should be good. The Sanctuary seems interesting. Hopefully it's implemented well enough where people actually want to do it and it's not just a huge pain in the ass, or else everyone will be very disappointed. Dragon Frame, hopefully my expectations are just low and I missed something. Seems like his design is cool until the head, and then his powers may be a little bit underwhelming, which would be bad. The Easter event, I mean, I like events, so I'm not going to sell you like, no, this sucks. Oh, whoops. There we go. Those are back now. Okay. And then Parkour 2.0, we should be expecting that. But the big thing is the Tombs of the Sentient, which you are going to see right now.